All right, since we're all here, I'm going to kick the meeting off at 5. I'll start with the opening language, then we'll take a roll call, so everybody's up to date. All right, I have 5 o'clock, so I'll open the meeting. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, GL Chapter 30A, subsection 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Board of Easthampton Public Works will be conducted via remote participation. Michelle, could we have a roll call?
Sure. Thomas Mulsbury,
Present.
Austin Sanders,
Present.
David Fagnan.
Present.
All right, I'm going to make a motion to open the Board of Public Works meeting for December 16th at 5 o'clock via remote participation.
Second the motion.
Thomas Mulsbury,
Yes.
Austin Sanders,
Yes.
David Fagnan.
Yes.
All right, so open up the agenda. First item is public speak. If anybody is present for an item not on the agenda and would like to address the board or the DPW director, the floor is yours. Unmute yourself. If not, we'll move on. All right, there is no public speak this evening. Item number 2 is reserved for mayor speak. The mayor is not joining us this evening. So third item on the agenda is the approval of the December 2nd, 2020 meeting minutes. I know Michelle sent those out this afternoon. Were you guys able to review them? And if so, are you satisfied with them?
Yes, for me.
I did not get a chance to this afternoon.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve if Dave will second it.
I will second that motion.
All right, so then Michelle, can we have a roll call to approve those?
Yep. Thomas Mulsbury,
Yes.
Austin Sanders,
Okay.
David Fagnan.
Yes.
Motion
All
passes.
right. On quickly to number 4, Williston is joining us this evening with a revised plan for their crosswalks at Park Street Athletic Center. Would you guys like to speak to the board, or shall I present the figure you gave me, or would you like control to present it and discuss yourself?
I'll leave it to maybe we have Mark Reed joining us this evening to maybe offer any general insights before you review it, if there's any updates or changes that were from the last plan that we presented.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Mark Reed from Heritage Surveys. I could share the plan if you would like, or you can put it on the plan up on the screen, whichever is the pleasure of the board.
I should be able to. All right, I believe this is, can you all see the updated Williston plan on your screens?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I also have available the last plan if you'd like me to toggle between them to show any differences.
Sure. So that based on comments received by the board in conversations with Williston, the plan has been revised to show at the front entrance of the athletic center with a crosswalk going across the street, which is shown on the plan right there. So that is one modification that we've made to the plan. The other is to the left-hand side of the plan. There's an existing crosswalk that kind of goes on a diagonal. We're going to remove that crosswalk and put a new crosswalk at 90 degrees to the road in that direction. The other major change to the plan is that the request was made that we resurface the road from what is kind of the north side of Brewster Avenue. And that distance is 421 feet, extending down to the proposed speed table and crosswalk. And then on the other side, or the south side of the crosswalk, an additional 83 feet of pavement would be resurfaced, milled and grind, and then resurfaced Park Street. The other change that we had to do is, because we're putting the speed table at the front door or the entrance of the athletic center, we have to put in 2 catch basins that are shown on the plan and connect to the existing drainage system in Park Street. So the drainage system starts at kind of the basins on the south side, or kind of the limits of the new pavement, and runs in the northerly direction. The pipe is on the north or the west side of the street and discharges down into the existing wetlands. So there'll be 2 new catch basins, and that will facilitate the proper drainage so that water doesn't collect on the uphill side of the speed table. Basically, I believe that's the extent of what the revisions were made to the plan. And I can answer any questions that people may have.
Hey, Mark, if I may, this is Brian Wing, Physical Plant Director for Williston. Could you just explain a little bit about the reason for the 83 feet to the south of the speed table, as we discussed, because of the grade of the existing road, why you had to go that far?
Sure. Twofold. Is one, the crown of the road is relatively flat through that area. So, and to make sure that the road pitches to either side as a proper crown, being the center line of the road being higher than the either side, we feel that it's necessary to repave that section, that 83-foot section, to make sure it's done properly so that the water will flow to the 2 new catch basins on either side. The pavement is not in the best shape for that section too, so that's kind of twofold. It benefits the city to have new pavement in that area.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
All right, well,
The
thank you.
plan itself really is pretty much what, on Ferry Street, the new speed table that's on Ferry Street that was just installed is very similar to that. The difference is that the crosswalk is 10 foot wide, and I don't believe the Ferry Street crosswalk is 10 foot wide. I believe it's probably standard 5 foot wide.
All right. Well, thank you for that explanation. I think that incorporates a lot of what we were, the questions we had, and it seems like a much more beneficial design both for the city and the use case you guys were looking at. So thank you for that. Any of the other board members have any questions or outstanding concerns from the previous proposal?
No, it looks satisfactory to me.
I agree with that sentiment.
Greg, does this address any issues that the DPW had with the request for additional milling and paving and entry into our stormwater system with the new catch basins?
Yeah, I think it looks great. I appreciate how much of the road Williston's willing to resurface for us there. think it's much better. And it's very similar. I think that crosswalk mark you're referring to on Fair Street, I believe that one's 8 feet wide, and we're 10 feet wide at the rail trail crossing there.
Okay.
But it's very similar to what's there, and I think it's a nice upgrade for Park Street as far as safety goes.
And as I asked last time, is there anything that the board needs to do, Greg, at this point to move this forward, or is this just informational for the board for Williston to proceed?
So I could issue a trench permit for this work after April 15th, and I just would whole basis of this conversation was to have the board in approval of what alterations Williston wants to make to Park Street. So as long as the board is okay with what's being displayed here, I will have no problem issuing the permit for the work to happen after April 15th.
Okay, and I guess I should also ask, is this, I mean, a final design, or are you looking at any other changes before April, or do you want to come back to the board before your trench permit's issued, or only if there's a substantial change from what's being presented?
We believe it's a final design unless the board had any other changes to it. The plan will be finalized and stamped and signed. Jim Gracia is our PE, and he's reviewed the plan, and we'll be stamping the plan as a PE, and Bruce Coombs, the owner of Heritage Surveys, will stamp it as a PLS.
All right, then I guess I'll make a motion to accept this design as proposed and authorize Greg to issue the trench permit, and with the understanding that if there's any substantial change, you'll come to the board before that. But I make a motion to approve as presented.
Second the motion.
Thomas Mulsberry,
Yes.
Austin Sanders,
Yes.
David Fagnan,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you guys for your time,
Thank you.
and thanks for the improvement.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep. Good night.
Very much. Take care.
Okay, moving on to item number 5 on our agenda, Director's Report.
All right. Well, another
How are you
busy.
guys holding up? You ready
Good.
for tomorrow?
Oh yeah, we're ready to go. I've got. I can start off with some of the snowstorm prep if you want. We've got pretty much everybody ready to come in 9 p.m. tonight, give or take, based on what we're seeing for snow at that point in time. We did put a parking ban in today for 7 a.m. until noon on Friday, and then we'll look at, depending on what we get for snow, possibly doing some snow removal in the downtown area, Friday night into Saturday, but it's all up to what we end up with for weather for snow accumulation. So we are planning to close the mountain at 9 p.m. tonight. Again, that may change an hour or so based on what we see for precipitation. As soon as it's not safe enough to keep it open, we'll close it. But other than that, everything's ready to go. Guys are on standby to come in, and just another snowstorm for us. Big one, but hopefully it's cold enough. I think it'll be light and fluffy snow. It's a lot easier on the equipment. The snow's not so wet and heavy. So we did have Union Street closed yesterday for the restoration from the water main break from December 1st. That came out pretty well. It's kind of the nicest part of the street now. So we'll another couple of years we'll get the whole street done, but that was nice to get that finished over for winter. And while we were doing that yesterday, we had a water main break come in on Wilton Road, and I had to get some guys in that were staggered off to help us deal with that, but we got that fixed. And similar line, 2-inch galvanized, probably similar age to that line that broke on Union Street. So a lot of these, and just so the board's aware, all those dead end streets on the that side of Maine heading towards Southampton, it's like Jesse Lane, Wilton Road, they pretty much have a similar design of 2-inch galvanized pipe that goes down, and all the houses are tied to every house on what's that specific street is tied to that 2-inch galvanized. So all those streets are due for water main replacements. And so speaking with Clayton, the utility supervisor, yesterday, we're going to try to get that there's about 500 feet of pipe we need to put in to replace that line on Milton Road. But we've dealt with that breaking now. I want to say about 3 times in the last 5 years. So it's time. It's got to get done. We need to put a hydrant at the end of the street, and we're going to try to do that in the spring. And then it may be ambitious, what I'd like to do is if we're able to pave Main Street from Glendale to South next construction season, if we can get that water main in beforehand and address a couple other utility issues on at least Wilton Road. I'd like to get that, if we can group Wilton Road into that paving too, I think that'd be wise. So it's, we recognize there's a problem and we're working towards resolving it. So we'll just do the best we can. There's so many open positions in the DPW now between the water. I got one in the sewer department. We need a mechanic helper. One of the greatest things would be to just get some of these positions backfilled, but we're trying, but we're not seeing much for applicants right now. But that's basically what I've got for you guys for tonight.
All right, did you want to address the mayoral request?
Oh yeah, I mean, we can talk about it. The mayor's asked us to prepare a budget for fiscal year 22 with a 2.5% decrease, which is going to hit our line, or it's going to basically hit our O&M line items, because a lot of our line items are personnel services, utility bills, things that we don't have a lot of control over. So, that being said, some of the stuff I'd like to do next year may not be able to happen, but I'm optimistic that we'll be able to find ways to get stuff done. And it's certainly not gonna make things easier, but 2020 hasn't made anything easier. So hopefully we can just find a way to get these things worked in and keep moving forward.
I guess my question when I saw the article was, and this is more budget related, where I just need more information. If we have a planned capital improvement plan that's funded by like enterprise, is that outside of your fiscal year budget, or is that a rider in your budget?
It's somewhat outside, and then dependent on what the mayor will approve.
Okay.
So we made some slight adjustments to our capital plan for next year. Some of the stuff, so it's kind of challenging because, as I spoke at one of our meetings, it was a few weeks ago, about the appropriations I was requesting for capital for FY21. Whether those go through or not is somewhat dependent on what we need to ask for in FY22. So the plan we're able to, we were put forward for FY22 is somewhat fluid. And something else may pop up in the meantime that is more pressing than what we put in. But the capital plan just kind of gives us a guide to follow, but remains somewhat fluid.
Okay, thank you for that. Anyone else have questions specific for Greg, or?
No, just a clarification, Greg. With your personnel issues, you're not getting applicants, you're not getting qualified applicants.
We're not getting applicants.
Yeah.
I've had a foreman posted in the water department since, August, give or take, and we haven't had a single applicant. Granted, it does require a grade 3 water distribution license, but we haven't had even someone apply that with some background and no license. So
is that just because of a very limited pool of potential people, or is it?
Yeah,
is it
there's
the
not a lot of
salary?
not a lot of grade 3 distribution systems in Western Mass. You've got Springfield Water and Sewer takes care of a lot of the bigger towns down around the Springfield area. Northampton's a grade, I believe they're D3 system also. There's not a lot of guys with grade 3 licenses out there, and this is something that the Mass DEP and the Division of Professional Licensure kind of worked towards to drive more money into the profession. They made it since 2009 or 10. They've made it significantly more difficult to get a grade 3 distribution license or a water distribution or treatment license. And now we're kind of in that point where the money maybe hasn't quite caught up with the requirement, and some things maybe need to change. But the right now the union, the DPW union's a foreman position in the DPW union. So we don't have a lot of flexibility in what we can offer. So it's another challenge. Like a foreman in the highway department is the same pay grade as a foreman in the water and sewer department. And the jobs are just, especially with the water side, having to hold that license it's a significantly different requirement. So,
Okay.
and then, you know, but we have the mechanic helper position. I haven't seen any applicants for that. There's a water craftsman open. I do believe we'll have an employee that wants to transfer from the highway department to the water department. That should be happening within the next few weeks, but it's still kind of, it's not set in stone yet.
All right. Well, if there is nothing else, we'll make a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
I'll second that.
Michelle, I believe you're muted.
There we go.
All right.
Thomas Salisbury,
Yes.
Austin Sanders,
Yes.
David Fagnan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. So our next meeting would be when, Michelle? Is it?
It'll be the first Wednesday in January.
Well, I knew that.
I
This
don't have my calendar.
That would be the 6th.
Yeah.
So no meeting the 30th?
Nope.
Nope. we
Only
had
the first and second.
First
Or
and third.
First and
First and
fourth.
third. Okay, yep.
Yeah, first and third meet Wednesdays.
Yeah, we don't do 3 in a month if it works
Yeah.
out that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, everybody have a good holiday, and I'll
Yeah.
see you
Merry
2021.
Christmas. Happy
Merry
New Year to
Christmas,
you all next
everybody.
year.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Take care.
Have a good
See
night.
you next year. Yep.